Man United play City in the Community Shield on Saturday. Against Fulham next Friday, we kick off our Premier League season. And there have been plenty of reasons, I would argue, to be positive about the changes that have happened behind the scenes at the club with some of the signings that we've made. But also, and I think it's fair to say this, I'm pretty worried about United going into that curtain raiser against Fulham. We've got one more pre-season game against City in the Community Shield. But I want to run through, I want to speak about the club. I want to speak about the pre-season. I want to speak about signings. I want to speak about sales and overall the squad. And just, this is kind of my opinion, this video. A little bit different to what I usually do here on United People TV. Sometimes the opinions are kept for the live shows. But let me know what you think in the comments below about what I've got to say. Because, as I said, there's so much reason to be positive about the structural changes behind the scenes at the club. With Omar Barada coming in, with Dan Ashworth, who's off to the left, you can't see him there. You've got Rene Hake, Ten Ruela, the new goalkeeping coach. You've got a new set-piece coach. You've got Ruben Nistelrooy. You've got so much change, I think, is actually putting Ten Hag in a far stronger position in terms of the support network that he has around him. Finally, I think, for the first time since Fergie, I can say that a Manchester United manager has the support structure at the club that he needs. Not just about being supported and backed with signings. He is being backed with genuine structure and support. However, so much more is needed when it comes to signings and sales this summer. Right, we started off with Joshua Zirkzee, which is a very exciting signing. Of course, we've not been able to see him because of how far the Netherlands went in the Euros, which I'm going to be speaking about later. It's one of my concerns. But Zirkzee, he'll hopefully be fit for the City game. I don't know who. Anyway, great signing. And Leny Yoro was a bit of a statement signing. We beat Real Madrid to him. It's a real indicator that a young player like him, with his qualities, sees United as the right place for him to develop. A great signing. We're going to have to wait 3 months to see him play for United, though, in the Premier League because of an injury. Thank you very much. And Erik ten Hag has spoken about Wilcox, about Ashworth, about the new leadership team that, yeah, they want to get sales and deals done. But this is probably my biggest question mark and biggest concern. It's not just Casemiro, but Casemiro is probably the biggest example of it. Sales at this club, right? You've got Casemiro there. You've got Jadon Sancho, who I fully expected to be sold, but seemingly is staying. And I've got this list here, right? Sales that are still needed at this club. Casemiro needs to be moved on and replaced. Scott McTominay, because he's an academy product, I think, and the value that we can get for him, the price we can get for him, I think we need him to sell him for the bottom line, to improve our options and improve our ability to actually sign players. Wan-Bissaka should be going. Hannibal, there's no place for him in the squad. Pellistri, there's no place for him in the squad. Lindelof should not be here. And Jadon Sancho, I think, should be moved on. And then on top of all of that, and this is where the blocker is, because none of these clearly are happening until some of these are done. And I saw some mad people suggesting, oh, Man United could spend 300, 400 million this summer. And it's just like, where are you getting these numbers from? It's just not based in reality. And what we've seen happen this summer is completely based in reality. Man United went strong and we got 2 big signings in. And now all of a sudden, everything is blocked by the lack of sales. Everything is blocked by the fact that Casemiro is 32 and is on north of 300 grand a week. The fact that nobody clearly wants Hannibal or Pellistri or Lindelof enough. And Jadon Sancho, we know about wages there too. And I'm really concerned because we have so much more to do in terms of signings. We need that extra centre-back. We need Mazraoui, if Wan-Bissaka's going, to be that fullback cover. And we need at least one central midfielder. And I would probably argue 2. And all this still has to be done. And I'm concerned about it, and I'm worried about it. In terms of the pre-season results, right, I'm never going to be too worried or too excited about the results in pre-season. It's more about the patterns and the fitness and everything that you see in between. But United had a mixed bag this pre-season, and that's putting it politely, all right? There were some really positives, really big positives, sorry. Ahmad and Amas, probably the 2 standout players, I would say, on the pre-season tour in terms of expectations versus how they performed. And I think having Ruud there, I think we started to see a slight difference in the pressing system. I'm going to be covering this in a tactical video separately. But I think there were positives to take. Hearing Tom Heaton, Johnny Evans, quite a few players speaking about the impact of Ruud and the overall coaching setup. It seems better. It feels better. The results, of course, weren't there. And then everything that happened with the injuries. It's like, what? It's like, really? Again? Leny Yoro out for 3 months with a metatarsal. Rasmus Højlund's going to miss the first 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. Johnny Evans, precaution. Harry Maguire, precaution. Lindelof, precaution. Will Fish went off with an impact injury. I don't know what these players are made of, man, but injuries, again, seem to be cursing United already. Fingers crossed it's just a pre-season thing. But on top of the concerns I have over the signings that still have to be made and the sales which need to be made to allow that to happen, and this sort of blockade that we're getting, the pre-season that had its positives but certainly had some negatives as well, and just the overall preparations for the squad going into this season. That's a big concern. Last season, I remember Christian Eriksen complaining about it, saying that there's so much travel, there's so much commercial, just stuff away from football that we have to do that's hindering our ability to have a solid pre-season together. And then this summer, we've had Dalot missing, Bruno missing, Mainu missing, Garnacho missing, Højlund, who's missed the whole thing with injury now. So many of our players have been missing because they did well with their respective countries during Euro 2024 and Copa America. Joshua Zirkzee, our new signing, hasn't even joined with the pre-season squad. So we've missed the likes of Bruno, Dalot, Martinez, Garnacho, Zirkzee, Højlund, Mainu, Shaw. That's 8 players who could all conceivably be in our starting 11. And majority of them haven't been involved in pre-season. Højlund, of course, did, and then he got injured. And these are the preparations that Erik ten Hag has going into the season. If it wasn't the commercial activities and the how big the tour was last season, it's the fact that and look, you know what? Maybe there just won't ever be a bigger. Maybe there isn't a perfect preseason, and maybe this is happening at other clubs, and they've all got their concerns as well. But I knew that sales would pretty much define whether this would be a successful summer transfer window or not, because all the signings we wanted to make weren't possible unless the sales happened. And we've got Zirkzee in, and we've got Yoro in, who are 2 great signings, but so much more are needed, and they can't happen until the sales are happening, which aren't happening. And I'm worried about it. I'm not too worried about the results in pre-season, if I'm being totally honest. And I wouldn't really look into that too much. And there were some positives, as I said, to take from it, but there were some concerns, and I think you know what the biggest concern was. Injuries. Now, we've got the Community Shield. That's the last pre-season game. And I think that's a perfect opportunity to really get the levels up. And if we can play like we did in the FA Cup final, then who knows what happens. But we've got 11 days now until the curtain raiser against Fulham. We need a lot more in terms of this squad. But the squad building, which was probably which was the most important thing this summer, there's so much more work to do in that regard. And I'm worried about it. Do I have confidence that United can get more done from this point than I would have in any other previous rate? Yeah, I absolutely do. Ashworth and Barada and Wilcox and Vivell, I'm convinced that what they are going to be able to do in this last month will be so much better than anything that could have happened under John Murtough or the Glazers or anything beforehand. But there is still so much more to do. I want to know where you're at. How worried are you? Do you think that we'll get it done? It's going to be a shaky start to the season, no doubt. I just want to know where you're at as a United fan.